Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 276 based on novel. So let's start. There was a bright nebula among the vastness of space. This colorful nebula looked static, but it was undergoing a change unseen to the eye. This nebula was filled with different colors and was very beautiful. On this day, a ray of light flew through the nebula. This ray of light wasn't fast, but when it passed through the nebula, it made it look as if the nebula was boiling and retreating. What was more astonishing was that the person inside the ray of light wasn't using a treasure like the star compass, he was moving with his body. This person wore a green robe and looked about 30 years old. His appearance was ordinary and there was nothing unusual about him. If there was anything notable, it was that he gave off an ancient temperament. It was as if this person had lived for tens of thousands of years. Wang Lin walked the entire way. He didn't use spatial bending, he just calmly walked among the stars. It had been 4 days since he returned from the void. 4 days ago, he and Ching Shuer opened up the passage back from the void with the help of Master Flame's Park. Wang Lin didn't mention much about what happened in the void. He didn't go too deeply into the whereabouts of Yi Muzi, Wudo-chan, and the Moongazer serpent. Master Flame's Park didn't ask too much about it, but when they talked about the Moongaze serpent, he frowned. Wang Lin didn't linger too long with Master Flame's Park. He decided to leave using a private matter as an excuse. Master Flame's Park silently pondered for a long time and didn't force Wang Lin to stay. Although he couldn't see through Wang Lin's ancient god body even though his cultivation level was much higher, he could feel a powerful aura that shocked him greatly coming from Wang Lin. Although this aura was fearsome now, with time, it would grow to an extremely terrifying degree. The seal on Ching Shuer's cultivation quickly undid itself once he returned. After all, his celestial origin energy didn't really disappear, it was merely suppressed by the seal. After recovering his cultivation, Ching Shuer didn't stay where Master Flame's Park was. He disappeared among the stars, his whereabouts unknown. On the surface, when the two left, it looked like they didn't interact at all, but Wang Lin knew Ching Shuer would come and find him. After all, Ching Shuer hadn't searched esteemed Xian Bao's memories yet. Thinking about what happened in the void, Wang Lin felt very regrettable about it all. Whether it was Lu Chen's life, the waves outside the seal, or the secrets of the celestial realm, they were all fresh in Wang Lin's mind. What shocked him the most was the heaven-defying bead. Wang Lin would never have guessed that the heaven-defying bead would unexpectedly trigger a great war between the 4 celestial realms. The great war between the 4 celestial realms was certainly more fierce than the battle between All Heaven and the Alliance. Wang Lin let out a sigh as he went through the nebula and looked ahead. At some point, he turned around and remained unmoving. A moment later, ripples spread from where he was looking and Ching Shuer walked out. He looked at Wang Lin with admiration in his eyes. Wang Lin's expression was calm as he smiled. Senior brother came. The current you is qualified to travel the stars, so I can relax. Ching Shuer took a step and arrived next to Wang Lin. Wang Lin immediately noticed a powerful smell of blood from Ching Shuer's body. He could vaguely feel that Ching Shuer's cultivation was several times stronger than several days ago. On the way, I heard a few people talking about your name, so I went and killed some alliance cultivators who were good at hiding. Although Ching Shuer spoke like it was nothing, Wang Lin could tell that this was absolutely not a small matter. The truth was certainly as he explained. The slaughter realm of the alliance had kept up their pursuit of Thunder Celestial Shumu. Although Wang Lin had gone into the void, they didn't give up and stayed around. However, they didn't scatter but divided into 2 teams near where the All-Heaven cultivators were. However, this slaughter realm had terrible luck and one of its groups was confronted by Ching Shuer. All of them were killed and even the leader was devoured by Ching Shuer. Wang Lin slapped his bag of holding and esteemed Xian Bao's origin soul flew out. He threw it at Ching Shuer. Ching Shuer caught it and placed his right hand between esteemed Xian Bao's eyebrows. Celestial origin energy surged into Ching Shuer's right hand and esteemed Xian Bao awakened. Burst of miserable screams echoed and his origin soul convulsed. Ching Shuer's expression was gloomy and his eyes were closed. After a long time, he opened his eyes, and there was a layer of frost over his face. He threw esteemed Xian Bao's origin soul back at Wang Lin. Wang Lin didn't speak and caught esteemed Xian Bao's origin soul. This origin soul had lost its consciousness and had become nothing but a source of celestial origin energy. The former dignified celestial, the junior brother of the esteemed Xian Bao, ended up like this. It could only be said that whether you were a celestial or a cultivator, if you were a bit careless, you could end up in this state. If you wished to be different, then you had to become the strongest. Wang Lin put this origin soul into his bag of holding and looked at Ching Shuer. Ching Shuer's expression had returned back to normal, but there was a hint of fierceness in it. He had found a sliver of a clue from esteemed Xian Bao's origin soul. Ching Shuer looked at Wang Lin and slowly said, "Shu Mu, I need to go the Alliance's slaughter realm to pick up an item. Are you willing to go with me?" Wang Lin pondered a bit and said, "Can senior brother wait for me for 10 days? Ching Shuer nodded and said, "Okay, I'll come looking for you in 10 days. Ching Shuer didn't waste time. He took a step and disappeared into the void. The moment he disappeared, a monstrous killing intent disappeared instantly. Wang Lin let out a sigh. He knew that Ching Shuer must have found someone within esteemed Xian Bao's origin soul. After pondering for a bit, he took a step and ripples appeared under his feet. He merged with the world. The reason he asked for 10 days was because there were two matters he had to attend to. There was a cultivation planet in the northern region of the Alliance. This planet was in the depths of the northern region and was far away from the battle several days ago, so it wasn't affected by the big battle. This planet was filled with spiritual energy and covered with endless forests. This was a rank 7 cultivation planet. There were 3 smaller cultivation planets around this planet, making them the secondary planets. This rank 7 cultivation planet had a very beautiful name. It was called Dark Moon. A majority of planet Dark Moon was covered in forests and large amounts of mortal villages were scattered across the planet. There were also many cultivation sects within its numerous mountains. There was a famous mountain in the southern part of the planet, and it was called Heaven Mountain. This mountain was very full and the top was covered in mist. No one knew where the peak was. A small path of stone steps led up the mountain and the rest was hidden within the clouds. One couldn't help but feel like this place was the celestial realm. Every morning, the sound of bells would echo from the peak of the mountain. A few beautiful birds would fly out among the clouds and wander Heaven Mountain. Their cries would intersect with the sound of the bells. This scene was like a scene from a painting. It was extremely elegant, like a hidden paradise. Dawn! 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 The sound of the bell seemed to pierce the clouds as it spread out from the peak. It made the heart of anyone who heard it feel peaceful. There was a mortal village at the foot of mountain. There weren't many people there, only about 100 families. The village was filled with apricot trees, and the trees were in full bloom. A gust of wind would cause the fragrance of the apricot flowers to spread. Smelling the fragrance of the apricot flowers would make one feel calm. The sound of the bell seemed to blow away the coldness of night in the early morning. Burst of smoke and the sound of dogs barking appeared. As the smoke floated into the air as if it removed the last sliver of darkness of night. Looking at this from away, it was like a moving picture and contained its own domain. Wang Lin silently stood in the distance and looked at the village ahead. The smoke and the swaying apricot trees were dynamic and the almost 100 houses were static. The dynamic and static things contrasted each other, like the leisurely and busy lives. This inadvertent combination made Wang Lin feel familiar and yet unfamiliar at the same time. What he recalled was not the village before him, but his childhood back on planet Suzaku. Inner fragments of nursery rhyme came from the distances as the sound of the bell ringing echoed in the morning. The apricot tree blooms white flowers. The daughter won't be taken by a Daoist family. Last year, Lang II went up the mountain, and a year later Lang I was a bag of bones. The cry of the daughter accompanies the dead, but takes the coffin as family. The apricot tree blooms white flowers and children shouldn't be taken by Daoists. If asked about my age, I still don't have found my Dao. The dog barks, the cat scratches, scaring the Daoist back home. The voice of a tender child entered Wang Lin's ears along with the sound of a crisp bell ringing. It was a child dressed in close-fitting clothes riding on an ox walking toward the village. There was an iron hoop through the ox's nose with 2 bells attached. As the ox walked, the bells would ring unceasingly. There were several calves following the ox. The child saw Wang Lin but wasn't afraid as he continued to sing the nursery rhyme and gradually approached Wang Lin. The child tilted his head and his big eyes blinked as he said, "Uncle, why are you here? Are you lost?" Wang Lin revealed a smile and nodded. "What is this place?" The child pointed ahead and said his tender voice, "This is the Apricot flower village." As he spoke, he sat on the ox and walked into the village. Only the nursery rhyme continued to echo. Wang Lin let out a sigh. When the nursery rhyme entered his ears, a hint of sadness arose within him. He muttered, "Planet Dark Moon, a village under Heaven Mountain. This should be it." That vague call from a dying friend who was homesick echoed in Wang Lin's ears. "Please take my ashes back to Planet Dark Moon in the Alliance star system. There is a mountain called Heaven Mountain. I remember that there was a village under the mountain. Please take my ashes there." Several kilometers outside of Apricot Flower Village, there were a field of graves. Wang Lin's figure appeared there. He looked at the graves before him and, after pondering for a long time, he slapped his bag of holding. A white jade vial appeared in his hand. Holding the bottle, Wang Lin let out a sigh and said, "Sun Tai. The grudge before us is over. I have completed the promise I made to you to bring your ashes home." As he spoke, the small bottle automatically flew forward and entered the soil in the distance. Then a small mouth slowly formed. He waved his right hand and carved with his finger. There were flashes of light as Wang Lin carved a decorative tombstone with a few small words on it. Sun Tai's grave. For us cultivators, 100 years, 1,000 years pass in the blink of an eye. Most relatives will have passed away, and those that remain feel alienated. Once you step on the path of cultivation, you are doomed to a life of hardship. When you're walking down the path of cultivation, when you turn your head you can't see where you came from, and when you look at the path ahead, it is shrouded in fog. Wang Lin let out a sigh as he looked at Sun Tai's grave, and regret filled his eyes. "Today I was able to send your ashes home even though you died in a foreign land. If there is a day when I die, I don't know if there will be anyone to send me back to planet Suzaku." Wang Lin silently pondered before leaving. "This is karma." Wang Lin's footsteps didn't stop as he gradually disappeared. However, that nursery rhyme didn't leave, it shrouded his heart. Apricot tree blooms white flowers. Cultivation, cultivation, mortals yearn to become immortal and enter the cultivation world. Yet they don't know how many cultivators are envious of a mortal's bland life. How many more died in foreign places like Sun Tai, their ashes scattering with the wind, unable to return home. However, many parents and relatives weren't able to meet their children even at their dying moment. If one had the choice again, would they still take that step to become a cultivator? The nursery rhyme was formed by many generations of bitterness. Outsiders might not be able to understand what the child sings about, but cultivators can feel the sadness in their heart. The name of that nursery rhyme must be "Don't Cultivate." Wang Lin's figure faded from existed as he merged with the word. However, that nursery rhyme and that eternal sadness remained. Wang Lin stepped through the stars. There was a powerful sense of regret over his body. Although the trip was short, the mood lingered with him. The area between the western and northern regions had become the buffer area for the All-Heaven cultivators. There was a cultivation planet near where the battlefield was. This cultivation planet was kept rather intact, and although there wasn't much spiritual energy left, Lie Yanzi didn't care. Lie Yanzi sat at the peak of a mountain on the planet. Beside him was a youth who had a gloomy expression. Although he was also sitting there, he looked into the distance as if he was waiting for something. If Wang Lin was here, he would recognize the youth as Shuing, who nearly died in the big battle. There were 13 balls of blood around Lie Yanzi. These 13 balls of blood were the remaining Lu Fu. There weren't many All-Heaven cultivators here, only a few people, with Lie Yanzi as the leader. He was here precisely because the 13 Lu Fu would prevent the Alliance from launching another attack. His divine sense was spread through the 13 Lu Fu, which allowed his divine sense to spread much farther than normal. As a result, nothing within the area could escape his divine sense. Wang Lin's figure appeared from within the ripples. He came to this cultivation planet looking for Lie Yanzi. This was the second matter he had to attend to. Back before he entered the void, Wang Lin had a divine sense message sent to him, and the person who sent it was Lie Yanzi. Lie Yanzi, who was sitting on the top of the mountain, slowly opened his eyes. The moment he opened his eyes, the 13 balls of blood trembled and 13 red eyes appeared on the 13 balls of blood. All of them were staring in one direction, and a powerful pressure formed as a result. It formed a spell that could collapse the stars. Lie Yanzi revealed a faint smile and slowly said, "You came." With this cultivation, he could naturally see that Wang Lin had undergone some changes, but he didn't point it out or question Wang Lin. After all, he was inferior to Master Flamespark and therefore wasn't able to clearly see through it. There was a flash of coldness in Shu Ting's eyes. He let out a cold snort and didn't hide his killing intent as he stared at Wang Lin. Wang Lin's figure appeared under the gazes of the 13 red eyes. His expression was neutral, as if the pressure didn't affect him at all, and he completely ignored Shu Ting. He looked at Lie Yanzi and said, "Shu Mu greets Senior Lie Yanzi." Lie Yanzi waved his right hand and the 13 red eyes disappeared from the balls of blood, causing the pressure to disappear. Wang Lin's expression didn't change at all as he landed on top of the mountain and stood opposite of Shu Ting. Shu Ting shouted, "Shu Mu! You! Noisy!" Wang Lin coldly looked at Shu Ting. This gaze was like a sharp sword that pierced through Shu Ting's eyes. Shu Ting felt an explosion in his mind and his expression changed greatly. He was in shock and his entire body felt weak. Wang Lin's words seemed to contain some kind of law that caused the blood flow in his body to reverse and his celestial origin to almost collapse. Bang, 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 bang. At this instant, all sounds aside from his heartbeat were isolated from his ears. His heart rate accelerated and sweat poured out non-stop. From his view, facing Wang Lin just now felt like he was facing an elder of his family, and he couldn't resist at all. What made him feel even more fear was the powerful aura that was several times stronger than the heaven's might. As his body trembled, he felt like he was under the feet of a giant. If this giant roared, it would make his body and origin soul completely collapse. After coughing out a mouthful of blood, Shu Ting was filled with terror. He retreated as he stared at Wang Lin, but his mind was blank. He couldn't understand why this had happened. Lie Yanzi's eyes shined brightly and he exclaimed, then his gaze toward Wang Lin became serious. Wang Lin no longer looked at Shu Ting but looked at Lie Yanzi and calmly said, "I wonder why Senior has called Junior here." Wang Lin's voice was calm, but it just made Lie Yanzi even more serious. He no longer looked at Wang Lin like an ordinary junior. This was the effect Wang Lin wanted. He wanted to shake the mountain to alert the tiger. With his intelligence, how could he not know why Lie Yanzi was looking for him? Back then, he didn't have the qualifications to make demands, but now he did. During the celestial bestowment, this old man allowed you to look at the Zhon family's battle scroll. I promised you then to allow you to see the second scroll. Today, I called you and Shu Ting over to observe it. As Lie Yanzi spoke, he lifted his left hand and reached toward the void. There was a tearing sound and then a rift appeared. A ray of black light shot out from the crack. There was a black scroll surrounded by black light. It flew toward Lie Yanzi's hand and floated there. This is second battle scroll of my Zhon family's 3 battle scrolls. Lie Yanzi's left hand threw it forward, and he looked at Wang Lin with a hint of anticipation. Wang Lin's right hand grabbed the Zhon battle scroll, but he didn't open it. Instead, he smiled at Lie Yanzi and said, "Senior Lie Yanzi, Junior can't view this second battle scroll for nothing." As Lie Yanzi looked at Wang Lin, his expression became gloomy. However, he recalled Wang Lin's roar, and a moment later, he laughed. "Shu Mu, you've got guts. What do you want? Speak." Wang Lin pointed at the 13 Lu Fu and calmly said, "Junior wants a Lu Fu for looking at the second scroll." Lie Yanzi silently pondered as he revealed a smile that was not a smile and said, "Is this a treasure you can have?" Wang Lin faintly smiled but didn't answer the question. Instead, he said, "Junior has an appointment with my senior brother. In a few days, he will come find me to go to a place with him." Lie Yanzi meaningfully looked at Wang Lin as he laughed and said, "I'll gift you one." With that, his right hand reached toward the void and one the balls of blood descended. It rapidly condensed into a fist-sized ball and floated toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin carefully grabbed it and put it in his bag after checking it. Lie Yanzi said, "Now you can look at it. Since Vice Thunder Celestial Shuting is going to view it with me for a chance at good fortune, then Shuting should view it first. After all, he was the first to view it last time." Wang Lin threw the scroll at Shuting. Shuting's trembling mind hadn't recovered yet, but he subconsciously seized it. He opened the scroll and then a thunderous roar suddenly came from it. A powerful battle intent appeared from the void and descended on Shuting. Shuting's body trembled as he felt a monstrous wind blow by. It was as if an ancient beast was sealed inside, and now that the seal was released, the fierce beast released its monstrous aura. Countless years of anger escaped at once as if it was going to devour him. Lie Yanzi's expression revealed a hint of tension. It was rare for him to show this kind of tension with his cultivation and age. He clearly knew how many talents in his family throughout the years were able to view the first scroll but were unable to withstand the unimaginable battle intent inside the second scroll before it even opened completely. The less serious consequence was that they be seriously injured and maimed. The more serious consequence, their origin soul would perish. Lie Yanzi knew that what they saw and felt was beyond the limit of the mind. Only a few people were able to open the second scroll. Even so, they were only able to open it a little. As for those who could completely open the second scroll throughout the countless generations, there were only 3 people, including himself. Only those 3 could completely open the second scroll. Shuting's face was deathly pale, his body trembled, a lot of sweat poured out. His eyes were in a daze as he stared at the scroll that was opened by a sliver. He felt a fierce aura charging out from the small opening in the scroll, and it wanted to devour him. This made him feel very uncomfortable, as if something was being suppressed in his chest. He wanted to let out a roar to release it, but he couldn't make a sound. A roar that came from the ancient times echoed in his ears. Then a violent wind blew at him, causing his clothes and hair to flutter. He was in a trance and had an illusion that he was a lonely boat struggling among turbulent waves. However, Shuting was a talented junior from the Shu family of planet Wang Lin. He had entered the celestial pool, where his domain melted, but he obtained his celestial origin. If he was in the ancient cultivation world, he would be a true celestial. At this moment, he took a deep breath and his eyes shined brightly. Under this desperate situation, he suppressed the terror in his heart as he stared at the scroll, and his trembling hand slowly opened it. This scene caused Lie Yanzi's eyes to light up and reveal a hint of admiration. He thought Shuting was one of the few cultivators who could comprehend the first scroll within 4 seconds. Normally, when cultivators like him open up the second scroll, they can only open it 40%. I just don't know how much he can open it. Wang Lin's expression was still neutral as he coldly stared at Shuting. Shuting's hands trembled even more violently. Every time he opened the scroll a bit more, the fierce aura became even more intense. He felt as if he was holding an ancient beast in his hand and was going to open the seal to allow it to devour him. Time slowly passed as the scroll opened more and more in Shuting's trembling hands. His clothes were soaked in sweat and his face was pale. Shuting had opened the battle scroll about 40%, and the battle intent coming from the scroll was already intense. A storm appeared and swept by, causing a series of rumbles. A burst of black light came from the scroll and shrouded Shuting. Shuting's mind trembled, but there was an unyielding force inside his heart. He clenched his teeth as all his celestial origin energy surged and he mercilessly opened the scroll. There was a thud when he opened the scroll 70%. Lie Yanzi suddenly stood up and unimaginable surprise filled his eyes. Just at the instant the battle scroll opened 70%, a roar of a beast came from inside. Large amounts of black mist came out and turned into a giant beast that attempted to devour Shuting. Hang on. There was anticipation in Lie Yanzi's eyes. Shu Ting's body trembled. The moment the fierce beast charged at him, he coughed out blood and his body was knocked back. There were popping sounds and large amounts of blood burst out from his body. Letting out a miserable smile, he landed more than 100 feet away with a thud. As for the battle scroll, it immediately closed and floated in the air. It was as if the scene just now hadn't happened. Lie Yanzi let out a sigh. This Shu Ting was able to open the scroll 70%. Although he wasn't able to resist the beast inside the battle scroll, he was already an extremely outstanding individual among the people that had attempted to open the battle scroll over the countless years. He waved his right hand and the scroll flew toward Wang Lin. Lie Yanzi gloomily said, "Shu Mu, it's your turn." Wang Lin's expression was neutral as he grabbed the battle scroll and looked at Lie Yanzi. He had no relation with Lie Yanzi, so Lie Yanzi must have had other motives for wanting him to observe the second scroll. Now that he saw Shu Ting's miserable state, he was even more certain. Most importantly, Wang Lin clearly saw that the sliver of source origin Shu Ting had obtained from the first scroll was taken by the beast when it devoured him. This battle scroll is interesting. Wang Lin revealed a smile as he grabbed the battle scroll and suddenly opened it. The battle scroll was suddenly opened by Wang Lin. That fierce, ancient aura surged out at Wang Lin as if it wanted to devour him. Lie Yanzi stared at Wang Lin. Actually, although Lie Yanzi initially valued Wang Lin, his expectations weren't high. Wang Lin was not the first non-family member he allowed to view the battle scroll. However, over the countless years, at most they only managed to open a majority, no one had been able to completely open it. However, the scene that unfolded before him caused Lie Yanzi's impression of Wang Lin to change drastically. Wang Lin was able to set a condition and borrow Ching Shuer to suppress him. All this sounds simple, but how many people in the cultivation world could grasp the chant so perfectly? Even more so, how many people in the cultivation world dare to do such a thing before him? Compared to Shu Ting, he was expecting a lot more from Wang Lin's performance. That fierce ancient aura surrounded him didn't cause Wang Lin's expression to change at all. In his view, this was not nearly as strong as his ancient god aura. It was just like a small beast roaring before him. No matter how much it roared, it was still weak. Wang Lin calmly opened the scroll. As he opened it, the fierce aura became even stronger and turned into a gust that swept Wang Lin. However, this gust wasn't able to move Wang Lin at all. Lie Yanzi's pupils shrink and shined brightly as he stared at Wang Lin. At this moment, a majority of Shu Ting's celestial origin had collapsed. He looked at Wang Lin with endless hatred and complex emotions. Wang Lin's actions weren't fast. After opening the scroll 30%, he let out a cold snort. Not wanting to waste any more time, he suddenly opened up the scroll 70%. At this instant, the beast that devoured Shu Ting formed with a thunderous roar and attempted to devour Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes became cold as he stared at the beast rushing toward him and shouted, "Damned animal, you dare!" This roar was like thunder that split open the sky and rumbled across the cultivation planet. Even the mountain peak Wang Lin was standing on rumbled and showed signs of collapse. Cracks appeared in the earth nearby, forming large fissures. If he encountered a powerful cultivator, Wang Lin may not be strong enough to deal with him, but this mere ancient beast spirit wasn't enough to shake Wang Lin's mind. At this moment, Wang Lin was an ancient god. Also, he wasn't an ordinary ancient god but a 5-star royal ancient god. The fierce beast let out roar and then a whimper, then its body that was charging at Wang Lin stopped. Fear filled the beast's eyes. It was frightened by the words Wang Lin said before the scroll. At that instant, it felt an aura that made it tremble before this cultivator. It clearly remembered that this aura was something it didn't dare to provoke. This incredible scene caused Lie Yanzi's eyes to widen. Even with Lie Yanzi's cultivation, he couldn't help but become startled, but soon his heart was filled with ecstasy. This Shu Mu was able to make the beast spirit retreat in fear. The only person in my Zhon family that could do this over the countless years was the ancestor, Zhon Xingye. Lie Yanzi ignored everything else and stared at Wang Lin. Shu Ting clenched his fists, but the shock in his eyes was intense. Wang Lin opened the scroll with zero hesitation after he let out that roar. There was an extremely flamboyant, battle character on the scroll that looked like it was going to fly out from inside. It was amazing. An ancient aura came from the word, battle, and in that instant, there was a battle Dao shadow in each of his eyes. At this moment, Wang Lin's vision blurred and he sank into this strange domain. It was still that endless space with that old man wearing white. However, this time the old man was sitting, and his right hand continued to draw the word, battle, in the void. This old man reached the void realm and grasped the boundary of the world. I have left behind no descendants, and my entire cultivation is drawn into the word battle. At this moment, before I attempt to break the edge of the world, I leave behind these 6 battle scrolls in case I fail and lose my life. If someone in the future obtains all 6, then they will become this old man's inheritor. As the old man muttered, his right hand suddenly stopped. There were thousands and thousands of the word, battle, of varying sizes around him. The old man pointed with this finger, and then all of these words filled with battle intent merged into one word before the old man in the blink of the eye. Battle. The old man's voice was calm, but the moment he said the word, battle, trembled, turned into a ray of black light, and went into the void. Wang Lin's body trembled as the battle Dao shadow disappeared from his eyes and he awakened. Lie Yanzi quickly walked up. His eyes were filled with excitement as he urgently said, "Did you see it?" Wang Lin silently pondered a bit and nodded. Just as he was about to speak, Lie Yanzi waved his sleeve. Shu Tian's body more than 100 feet away was swept by a powerful gust of wind and thrown countless kilometers away. Lie Yanzi suppressed the excitement in his heart and said, "Now tell me what you saw." Wang Lin slowly said, "Inheritance." Inheritance, it was indeed inheritance. The disappearance of the ancestor must have had great connections with this inheritance. Lie Yanzi's expression changed. He naturally had methods of knowing if Wang Lin was telling the truth, but all of this was pointless now. To be able to say the word, inheritance, was proof enough. When Ancestor Ching Shuer saw the second battle scroll, he said something similar. This video will end here.